Hello and welcome back to Coffee and Conversation. I'm your host Karim Rafa and I'm joined with Martin Berry, the founder of D-Tribe Capital, a Singapore-based VC. And Martin, welcome on air.
Thanks, Karim. Nice to talk to you again.
Always a pleasure to have you on. I'd like to talk to you today about how traditional brick and mortar businesses are going to embrace tech in the future and how they're going to use that to scale more rapidly.
Yeah, sure. I think that if anything, the current environment has exposed the underinvestment that a lot of companies have made in digitizing processes and having seamless customer journeys that go from sort of offline to online. And we've seen a lot of companies have to very quickly pivot. One good example is F&B, how quickly they've had to use aggregators for delivery, and then very quickly worked out that a massive margin is going to those aggregators, and actually while they're keeping the lights on, they're not really making a lot of money. So I think this whole environment that we've just seen has shown that this has been a journey we've been on for a long time. We've been talking about digital transformation, but this is where the rubber really hits the road between those that have invested and have been very successful to those that have underinvested and are sort of struggling for survival.
Digital transformation, when applied to F&B and anything really that is product to consumer, has been dissected through platformization over the past 10, 15 years. Like you said, aggregators when it comes to delivery, but at the same time, I understand that you've also invested in a company that optimizes shelving and storage. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. Just earlier this month, in the midst of all the volatility around COVID, we just participated in a follow-on investment at Series A to a company in Australia called Shelfie. Shelfie is a retail analytics platform that uses AI and deep learning together with fixed cameras to help retailers around the world better manage their inventory. It helps with forecasting, stock outs, which we know during COVID became a big issue as well as being able to optimize and automate a lot of processes. So a little 7-Eleven store with one operator can get a point of sale notification that there's a stock out and therefore a lost revenue opportunity. And even big retailers like Costco and Walmart and Tesco, are leveraging this kind of technology to help them with demand planning and better managing their overall stock. So we think that this ability to look at supply chains and leverage technology to optimize and make them more efficient and productive is a really big theme, and that's why we just invested a couple of weeks ago.
Now, I understand that when it comes to F&B, you're actually quite experienced yourself. I mean, you were one of the early investors in Gong Cha, am I right?
Yes, that's correct. I was somebody who took the franchise of Gong Cha to the Korean market and long story short, built it to sort of 400 or 500 outlets and then worked together with private equity to acquire the Gong Cha brand globally. So we're now in about 20 countries, about 2,000 stores. And so, yeah, I've got a lot of sort of knowledge and experience when it comes to operating a large F&B organization.
I can imagine. And I mean, did you use any database tools in those scenarios?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in one of our very advanced markets like Korea, we have a loyalty app that really helped us to stay engaged with our customers, enable them to place orders, to do delivery, and the value of the investment we made in technology for Gong Cha in Korea really got a massive payback during the lockdown period. So we've really seen the fruits of our labor in terms of the amount of time and money we've invested in such a process.
On an investment perspective, how far behind do you think these traditional brick and mortar stores are from embracing data and digital transformation? Aren't all these platforms somehow actually keeping them behind and making them reliant?
Yeah, sure. I think that, as you know, the backbone of the economy is the SME space. And there's a lot of reasons why I do think we're lagging within sort of the SME segment. And that is, one, the budget, the appetite for investment in future technology is usually, tough for an SME. And two is also just knowledge and experience that SMEs, a lot of them are older generation operators who either don't understand or don't trust the tech, think that their business model has served them well over time and don't have a big appetite to change it. So if anything, I think, the current environment has shown just how ill-prepared, especially the SME sector is And even, banks that I deal with, as an example, I look to open a new corporate account in the midst of COVID, and it was a basket case. They couldn't digitize processes, still wanted wet signatures, still wanted face-to-face meetings in branches that weren't even open. So there's a lot of claims to progress that's been made on this digital journey, but I think, we both from a organizational and regulatory perspective still have a long way to go to make a vast improvement from where we are today.
It does feel a bit like a patchwork or almost a modular approach when you think about it, right? I mean, a mom and pop shop that sells only specific set of items and picks them up from the wholesaler, sells them in cash, and all of a sudden they want to move to Visa, credit card, and so on, so they get a terminal. And then they want to do deliveries, so they go to Deliveroo or Grab and they offer deliveries. All of these are added services that turn these basic shops into suddenly future-proof ones.
Yeah, 100%. And what just shocks me is the fact that if you look at Shopify signups in the months of February and March, they are at all-time record highs, right? And just look at Shopify's share price performance, where it's, I think, doubled in the last 1 year. And Shopify has always been there. It's been enabling offline companies to go online for quite some while. But for some reason, people are either inherently lazy, or I don't know what the inertia point is, because it's not expensive. But all of a sudden, when you are in a situation of survive or die, we've seen a massive traction on e-commerce and the likes of, Shopify being a good barometer of how that works. So, there are a lot of tools out there, and that's where we like to invest, in the tools that help companies and the technology that helps companies go from offline to online, or have seamless customer journeys between offline to online. But, like I said before, this has just shown how ill-prepared many have been for such a crisis or such an environment.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, I'm a big fan of the Shopify model myself. It's actually funny you bring that up, because Facebook and Instagram just recently announced the launch of Shops, which is the exact same thing, a digital storefront, right?
Yeah, and again, you ask yourself the question of, they had an attempt at Facebook Marketplace and it's had limited success, and clearly Shopify has been, the game changer and has outperformed. But again, that seems like it's a reactive sort of knee-jerk reaction to, wow, COVID, we need to look at these types of opportunities. Shopify is going gangbusters. So even some of the big tech companies, I think, have also lagged in some areas that they could have really helped, enable people to get online.
Do you think this is an area worth investing in still now as a VC for, say, early stage platform companies?
Yeah, the whole retail offline to online is a segment that we really like and find attractive. Tools and platforms that are out there that help companies to build, customer journeys, whether it be the awareness side through social media, retargeting ads, and all the platforms that help them build their brand and awareness, through to the ability to actually close transactions and sell products. We're very much interested in a lot of the companies that are interplaying within those customer journeys, and there's some really interesting companies that are out there, whether it be chat bots, whether it be, like I said, ad tech, martech platforms, sales tech platforms that help them engage consumers. There's a lot of, I think, attractive opportunities in that theme.
Martin, thank you so much for coming back on air today.
My pleasure, Kareem. It's always good to talk to you, and look forward to having another chat again soon.
Definitely, it's always good having you on air. Thank you all for watching. This is Coffee and Conversation, and we'll see you soon.